There are many reasons why the Xbox 360 was such a success for Microsoft. It came out earlier than the PS3 and was available at a more sensible price, but the biggest factor in it winning the war, as is the case in almost every console generation, was the exclusive games it boasted. During the 360's lifetime, returning franchises from the original Xbox were given welcome updates alongside fresh IPs, making themselves mascots for a new generation. There was also stellar third-party support, but most consumers were swayed enough by the likes of Halo and Gears of War to stick around. Its games were so good that even widespread technical issues couldn't harm the Xbox 360 enough to cause a disaster. That really says something. But then the Xbox One was announced, an all-in-one media center which didn't even seem that hot on letting people play games. Many controversial decisions from Microsoft, such as bundling the Kinect with the base console at a higher price, were deterrents for many 360 gamers to upgrade, which caused Microsoft to do U-turns on their decisions. The damage had already been done. While Sony have been hitting it out of the park with efforts like Horizon Zero Dawn and Uncharted 4, Microsoft's unit-shifting mainstays have underwhelmed. It might not have helped itself by trying to bring about the death of the true exclusive with its Play Anywhere feature, though this is admirably pro-consumer. Of all the games available on the system, it only just has over 30 you can't find anywhere else. To make matters worse, they're mostly Kinect titles. However, with Microsoft's announcement of the acquisition of 5 studios at E3 2018, the lack of Xbox One exclusives may be about to change, or at least the foundations will be in place for the future of the Xbox brand. Compulsion Games, Ninja Theory, Playground Games, Undead Labs and the brand new The Initiative will all be a part of the Xbox family going forward. While there are still plenty to come in 2019 and beyond, it's time to look at some of the essential Xbox One exclusives we've seen so far. Bear in mind that the Xbox One doesn't really boast a great deal of true exclusives, as many of their big hitters can also be found on PC because of Play Anywhere, and also because they are now super chums with Nintendo. Consider this to be a list of solely console exclusives instead. We would basically be left with Halo 5 otherwise. In addition, we're avoiding remasters and collections, so Rare Replay and the Master Chief Collection don't make the cut, as good as they are. Number 10. Titanfall. We, probably like a few others, could defend Titanfall until we turned blue in the face. While it's hard to argue that the lack of a campaign did nothing to hurt its longevity, Respawn's wild new FPS was a thrill ride while the going was good. Featuring parkour, giant robots and an almost impossibly frenetic pace, Titanfall was a shot in the arm for the FPS genre on the Xbox One, but for whatever reason, most people didn't stick around for long. The player base dwindled and its lobbies emptied over time, leading many gamers to claim that it had died. While that wasn't entirely the case, it maintained a dedicated following through its lifetime. Things were improved for its sequel, Titanfall 2, a game with less sales but remarkably higher acclaim. It's almost moot to check the original Titanfall if you haven't yet, though you can get it through EA Access for nada. 9. Quantum Break. Here's a fun little fact for you. We totally forgot about Quantum Break until about 2/3 of the way through writing this. Ironically, plenty of people forgot to even check out the game upon its release. It struggled to meet sales expectations. Make no mistake though, Remedy's video game movie hybrid is worth checking out. Featuring neat time mechanics and some decent performances from its cast, the video game portion of Quantum Break offers a solidly enjoyable experience. It's when the control is taken out of the player's hands, however, that the game suffers. Its cutscenes, however well produced, just leave players itching to get back into the fray, which contributes towards Quantum Break feeling like a worthwhile experiment with mixed results. It's still worth experiencing, so hunt around for a pre-owned copy if you can. Number 8. Dead Rising 3. Not the best Dead Rising game, but certainly not the worst. Dead Rising 3 launched for the Xbox One to a warm reception. It had more zombies on screen than ever and a bigger environment to kill them in, though common complaints were made about its darker tone and less likeable protagonist. The game has its defenders and just as many detractors, though there is a pretty easy way of finding out if Dead Rising 3 will be for you or not. If you like killing hundreds of the undead and doing battle with obese American women, then you'll love it. Just try not to let this single tear roll down your cheek when you see all of its antiquated Kinect and smart glass mechanics. 7. State of Decay 2. Perhaps we are missing something, but State of Decay 2 isn't the disaster many have been painting it as, merely the natural progression and evolution from the original game, boasting better combat, deeper mechanics, and loop that keeps pulling you back. It, for my money, is a far superior game and one of the best zombie games around. Though it may have launched in a shoddy state, State of Decay 2 was still overflowing with content, allowing gamers to live out their dreams of surviving through the post-apocalypse in greater detail than ever. Its micromanagement may be too much for some, but nobody ever said that eking out an existence in an open-world game overrun by the undead would be straightforward. Number 6. Sea of Thieves. It feels a little weird placing Sea of Thieves anywhere on this list, purely because, well, it really flattered to deceive at launch. It drastically lacked content and variety and just didn't match the full pirating experience that many were hoping for. Sea of Thieves was looking like sailing the no man's sky for a little while there. But patience is a virtue, and now Sea of Thieves has a story mode and more content than you can shake a parrot at. If you can grab a few friends and play online together to sail the 7 seas, Sea of Thieves may just be the most fun game on Xbox One. I can't wait to get back online as Daryl's HMS friend ship sails again. 5. Gears of War 4. A surprisingly polarising new entry in the series, Gears of War 4 is likely to appeal to anyone who's a fan of the long-running shooter franchise. Newcomers might come away a little confused, however, especially when it comes to returning characters and the backstory involved. Gears of War 4 is essentially just more Gears of War with better graphics and a couple of minor gameplay tweaks. Its campaign is decent but not quite groundbreaking, though most of your time will probably be sponged up by its multiplayer. Yes, the microtransactions are a little invasive, but Horde mode is just as fun as ever to buddy up with a friend on and unwind with. 4. Halo 5 Guardians. Another polarising return for a beloved Xbox property, Halo 5 showed that the industry might have changed too much for the franchise to once again sit on the FPS throne, but also that it still definitely had a place in the gaming landscape. Halo is Halo and will always be better than most of its peers. A misleading marketing campaign led to disappointment for many, and those that enjoyed it still had their gripes, but Halo 5 kept the secret franchise formula for the most part. It lost split screen and added microtransactions while tweaking the speed of the gameplay to mix results, but Halo 5 is still one of the best games of its kind on the console. If you're unsure, you can always try it through Xbox Game Pass. Number 3. Sunset Overdrive. Insomniac's Xbox One exclusive being ahead of the last 2 games might be a controversial choice, but whereas Halo 5 and Gears of War slightly expanded and arguably struggled to improve on the groundwork laid by their predecessors, Sunset Overdrive represented something completely fresh. An open-world shooter, Sunset Overdrive gives the player a huge playground to grind through and shoot crazed mutants in. It's a breathless and chaotic game with a generous side helping of infantile humour which doesn't always bring laughs, but it makes up for it with its vibrancy and dumb fun appeal. When you combine that with heaps of customization and unlockable skills, you could do far worse than sinking a couple of dozen hours into this supremely underrated gem. Number 2. Forza Horizon 3. We're only picking one game from Forza, otherwise this list would just be littered with Forza titles. Ever since the series began, each new Forza effort has maintained a consistent quality and attention to detail that you don't see in many other racing games, but Forza Horizon 3 might just be at the top of the pile. Taking the action to sunny Australia, Forza Horizon brings its impressive garage to bursting point with an impressive amount of new vehicles. The same polished handling and small tweaks to the overall experience amount to one satisfying ride, so be sure to get behind the wheel if you're yet to. If you're looking for a writer who doesn't make racing puns, I may not be your guy. Number 1. Ori and the Blind Forest. Effortlessly charming and lovingly produced, Ori and the Blind Forest might not be the obvious choice for the best Xbox One exclusive, but it's a title that it absolutely deserves. Critics raved about it for a good reason. It's one of the finest games of its kind. Primarily a puzzle side-scroller in the Metroidvania mold, Ori's infectiously gorgeous world feels alive and one that you will just want to explore every nook and cranny of. The dynamic between its 2 leads, Ori and Sin, is one of its brightest spots and provides the backbone for a minimalist, captivating narrative. Honestly, if you get to play it, I don't want to say much more. Ori and the Blind Forest is best approached, well, blind. If you adore Disney and old-school Nintendo games, you're going to fall in love with this. What did you think to this list? Any I missed, please do let us know in the comments down below. But until then, if you've enjoyed it, please feel free to like the video, peck that subscribe button, and become one of our vulture hatchlings by subscribing for all more delicious, wormy content very soon. Caca, haha, ta-ta, and farewell.